Sound of a fierce gale rattling windows. Rain lashing down. The pub is quiet, dimly lit. A warm, inviting low hum from the crackling fireplace. Empty pint glasses gleam on the polished bar. Daniel Nate, looking tired but thoughtful, polishes a glass with a practiced hand. His gaze drifts towards the stormy window. He sighs. A quiet, profound sound. Bill Clutterbuck sits by the fire, nursing a pint. Pipe smoke curling around his head like a storm cloud. Dick Spanner PI stands by the jukebox, his metallic fingers hovering over the buttons, a fedora tilted low over his optical sensors. Sam Payton, in his distinctive uniform, sips tea at a small table, a newspaper spread before him. Pat Clifton, looking a bit damp, has just finished his rounds and is peeling off his waterproofs by the door. Joe Camel, leaning against the bar, exhales a plume of cigarette smoke. He eyes Daniel. Joe Camel, rough night, eh, Dan? Even the gulls are staying in. Daniel, distracted, yeah, reminds me of home. The wind would howl outside my son's nursery. He trails off, a wistful look on his face. He quickly collects himself, forcing a smile. Daniel, another round. Joe Camel, nah, I'm good. Just waiting for the storm to blow over, then maybe I'll try my luck with. He winks, gesturing vaguely towards the door. The new batch of desperate souls. Bill Clutterbuck, without looking up. The sea's a cruel mistress tonight. Seen many like it in my days at the lighthouse. Nothing but trouble blows in on such a wind. Dick Spanner PI. Jukebox makes a mechanical whir as he selects a tune. A melancholic saxophone solo begins to play softly. Trouble, Bill, is just the first drop of rain before the deluge. And I sent a deluge coming. My circuits are humming with a premonition of complication. Pat Clifton, shaking his head, water dripping from his hat. I just hope everyone's parcels are safe and sound tonight. Wouldn't want a special delivery getting lost in this racket. A sudden, high-pitched wail cuts through the saxophone music and the storm. It's not quite human. It's shriller. Everyone freezes. Daniel, what was that? A cat? Sam Payton, setting down his tea, alert, sounds more distressed and closer than a cat. Another wail, louder this time, followed by a faint thud against the pub door. Daniel, Pat, and Sam exchange glances. Daniel, must be something blown against the door. I'll check. Daniel walks cautiously towards the heavy oak door. He unlatches it slowly, peering out into the swirling darkness and lashing rain. He gasps. A small, intricately woven basket sits on the threshold, completely dry despite the downpour. Inside, swaddled in a pristine white blanket, is a baby. It's tiny, no more than a few days old. The baby is currently, uncannily, floating about 6 inches above the basket, its tiny fists clenching and unclenching. Its eyes are wide, unblinking, and an unnerving shade of emerald green. Daniel, whispering, utterly stunned, oh my God. Pat and Sam rush to his side, followed by Bill and Dick Spanner. Pat Clifton, a baby, on the doorstep. Who? How? Sam Payton, peering closer, a furrow in his brow. It's floating. Daniel, is that normal for newborns now? Suddenly, the baby's head begins to rotate slowly, unnervingly, a full 180 degrees, like an owl on a swivel, until its face is looking directly behind it. Then it snaps back forward, fixing its gaze on Daniel. A collective gasp from the men. Bill Clutterbuck, eyes wide, by the beard of Neptune. That ain't right. Not natural, I tell ye. Dick Spanner PI, flicking open a small, metallic notebook. Initial observation. Suspect exhibits anomalous gravitational negation and advanced cervical rotation capabilities. Possible extraterrestrial origin, or faulty engineering. The baby lets out another piercing wail. This time, it's not just noise. A torrent of luminous, green-tinged sick shoots from its mouth, arcing across the pub's entrance hall and splattering against the wall behind Daniel. It looks suspiciously like pea soup, but glows slightly. Daniel, wiping his face, aghast. Black. Good lord. Pat Clifton, spluttering, covered in glowing goop. Oh dear, my uniform. It's still new. Sam Payton, completely unfazed, wiping a bit of sick from his cork helmet with a controlled sigh. Well, that certainly clears any doubts about it being a normal baby. The saxophone music from the jukebox abruptly cuts out. All that's left is the storm and the silent, levitating, head twisting, projectile vomiting baby. The pub is a disaster zone. The glowing baby vomit still clings to the walls, floor, and a few unlucky patrons. The basket now sits on a cleaned table, but the baby is still levitating, occasionally bumping gently against the low-hanging lampshades. Daniel, looking utterly exhausted with dark circles under his eyes, cradles a mug of strong coffee. He's tried to clean up, but the pub still smells faintly of baby sick. Around a large table are Bill, Sam, Pat, Dick Spanner, and Super Ted, who has flown in through a window. Dawdle is pacing. Toad is trying to capture the baby's levitation on his smartphone. Godfrey stands gloomily in a corner. Corky is attempting to clean the worst of the sick with a too small rag, oblivious to the glowing residue. Dawdle, right, everyone, listen up. This simply won't do. A levitating, projectile vomiting, owl-headed infant is not practical. We need a plan. Immediately. Godfrey, sighs. Deep Yorkshire accent. A plan. Like a bucket we a hole in it. This'll end in tears. I tell thee. More tears than that baby's already cried. Toad, excitedly pointing his phone at the baby. Magnificent. The levitation. The ocular flexibility. Think of the possibilities. We could start a new sport. Baby bobbing. Or perhaps a competitive infant aerial display. My ancestors would be proud. Bill Clutterbuck, rubbing his temples. Toad, and your ancestors would also be wondering if a rogue wave took your sense overboard. This ain't sport. This is an anomaly. A blimey, glowing anomaly. Super Ted, flying over to examine the baby, his tiny red cape fluttering. Don't worry, little one. Super Ted is here. I've seen many strange things, but never a baby quite so aerodynamic. Perhaps it's a cosmic energy signature. The baby, startled by Super Ted's proximity, lets out a small burp. A tiny, green-tinged bubble floats away. Dick Spanner PI, snapping shut his notebook. My investigation reveals several prime suspects. A. Extra-dimensional portal. B. Experiment gone wrong. C. Very, very enthusiastic stalk. The evidence, however, is as murky as a back alley deal under a flickering neon sign. Sam Payton, calmly, well, whatever it is, it's still a baby, and it needs care. Have we checked for any identification? A tag? A note? Pat Clifton, patting his pockets. I checked the basket. Sam, nothing. Not a single postmark. No address. No return sender. Daniel, I tried feeding it some formula. It just levitated the bottle away. It won't take a dummy either. It just hovers and cries. And sometimes he shudders. The head thing. Corky, having finally scrubbed away a patch of residue. Up, Daniel. Is it poorly? I can lift it, if it helps. I'm strong, me. Corky reaches for the baby. The baby, sensing a large, unfamiliar hand, lets out a surprisingly deep growl and spins its head a full 360 degrees, fixing Corky with an unwavering stare. Corky jumps back, startled. Whoa, right, then. Maybe not. That's a bit twisty. Sound of the pub door opening. In walks Joe Camel, Spuds Mackenzie, Nat, Barney, Kathy, Carmel Bunny, Sfrandkaz, Constance, and Trip. They stop short, taking in the chaos and the levitating baby. Joe Camel, well, what fresh hell is this? And here I thought the Gables couldn't get any stranger. A levitating rugrat. Smooth move, little fella. Spuds Mackenzie, Rick male voice, eyes widening at the glowing sick. Blimey, looks like someone's had a bit too much electric eel juice. I could sell tickets for this. The amazing flying vomit baby guaranteed crowd pleaser. Nat, grinning, trying to impress Kathy. What a little punk rocker. Bet its first word'll be anarchy. Love, fancy a pint. Kathy, barefoot, coolly steps over a puddle of glowing residue. I'd fancy a clean floor. Nat, and maybe a baby that doesn't defy physics. Some of us have jobs to do, you know. Carmel Bunny, calmly surveying the scene. West Country accent. My, a magical Ben. Rather enchanting, if a touch messy. Sfrandkaz, Russian accent, scratching his gummy head, oblivious. Baby flies. Is this how modern children travel? Next, you tell me they deliver messages on tiny glowing screens. Preposterous. Constance giggles, a bit ditzy. Oh, isn't it just adorable? Like a little floating green cloud. Can it do tricks? Trip, leaning on his skateboard, adjusting his cap. Glaswegian accent. It's a rebel. Defying gravity. Making a mess. I dig it. Need some sick beats though. I could drop a track for it. Levitation Nation Barney. Suddenly standing on two legs. Tail wagging. Pulling out a small camera. Fame. Fortune. This is it. Barney. The scoop of a lifetime. Get ready for your close-up. Little flying wonder. Barney tries to snap a photo, but the baby emits a high-pitched shriek and a new wave of luminous puke erupts, this time targeting Barney's camera. The camera sputters and dies. Barney, whimpering, covered in glowing slime. My lens. Ruined. Oh, the humanity. Dawdle, hands on hips, exasperated. See, this is exactly why we need a strategy. Super Ted, can you perhaps gently contain it? Daniel, you look like you need a proper rest. Who amongst us has infant experience? Daniel just stares blankly, still holding his coffee. The baby levitates higher, cooing softly, a faint green aura pulsating around it. The pub is a controlled chaos. Daniel, completely drained, tries to make sense of things. He's placed the baby in a recleaned, sturdier crib, but it still floats a few inches above the mattress. Toad is attempting to teach the baby to fetch a small rubber duck, which the baby just hovers over, occasionally batting it away with a blast of green light from its hand. Corky is diligently trying to fix a small hole in the ceiling where the baby had previously bumped a little too hard. Svrandkaz, still confused, is trying to offer the baby a raw turnip. Svrandkaz is good for strong teeth. Little Babby, from Wild. Duh. Very good. The baby scrunches its face up, clearly unimpressed by the turnip. Dawdle, exasperated, snatching the turnip away. Svrandkaz, no. Babies don't eat turnips. They need milk, or, in this case, a special anti-gravity, anti-vomit formula that probably doesn't exist. Godfrey, muttering, anti-gravity, anti-vomit, next they'll be asking for anti-exist. Wouldn't surprise me. Daniel, running a hand through his hair, I've tried everything. It just floats there, quiet for a bit, then, poof, another mess, or it tries to reach the ceiling. I just don't understand. Where did it come from? Bill Clutterbuck, puffing his pipe, watching the baby. It's a mystery of the deep. Daniel, or rather, the sky. Something ain't right with the currents, neither wind nor tide. Dick Spanner PI, staring intently at the pub door, an unlit cigarette dangling from his metallic fingers. Every mystery has a source, a point of origin, a missing piece. And I'm getting a signal, a faint, almost imperceptible tremor in the cosmic fabric. Or maybe just the gale. Sam Payton, standing by the fire, looking thoughtful. There's a story in Wales, of sprites and mischievous folk, but never heard of one delivered by parcel. Pat Clifton, or by postman, though, if it had a stamp, I'd deliver it. Joe Camel, Spuds, Nat are huddled over their phones, looking at betting odds. Joe Camel, so, Nat, reckon this baby could win at the Grand National? What if we get it to levitate over the hurdles? Nat, eyes wide, mate, that's genius. The flying filly or the vomiting Victor Spuds Mackenzie, slapping Joe's back. Brilliant, Joe, we'd be rich, rich. I tell ya, I could finally afford that gold-plated trench coat. Cavi and Carmel Bunny are sharing a quiet cup of tea, completely ignoring the hustlers. Constance is trying to interact with the baby from a distance, blowing kisses. Constance, you're so dreamy, little floating baby. Barney, now with a new, much cheaper camera, just one good shot, one viral moment. Please, little baby, just one controlled levitation. Suddenly, the baby becomes agitated. It begins to levitate higher, faster, bumping against the ceiling with more force. Its coos turn into distressed cries. The green aura around it intensifies. Dawdle, oh no, it's getting stressed. What have you done, Toad? Toad, nothing. I just asked it to fetch the duck. Rather politely, I thought. Superted, flying up to gently nudge the baby. Take it easy, little buddy. What's wrong? The baby lets out a tremendous wail, eyes wide with what looks like fear. It spins its head violently, then projects a huge torrent of luminous, green sick across the entire room. This isn't just a splutter, it's a tidal wave. Everyone screams. The pub is instantly soaked in glowing goo. Pat Clifton. Oh, mercy me. My new uniform. Again. Godfrey. Completely drenched. Resigned. Knew it. Told ya. Tears. And vomit. Mostly vomit. Daniel. Shielding his face, but quickly stepping forward. Despite the mess. Something's really wrong. It's terrified. Bill Clutterbuck. Wiping goo from his eyes. Look outside. The storm. It's a living thing out there. Above the pub. Through the skylight. A massive, imposing shadow is cast by something circling. It's too big for a bird. Too agile for a plane. The baby, seeing the shadow, cries out again. But this time, it's a sound of yearning, not fear. It begins to float erratically, desperately trying to get higher, towards the skylight. Dick Spanner PI. Points a metallic finger towards the skylight. The missing piece. The delivery agent. My circuits. They are blazing with truth. Suddenly, a crash from above. The skylight shatters inward, sending glass raining down. Mercifully, Super Ted zips around, deflecting the shards. A giant stork, bedraggled and weary, with wide, frantic eyes, tumbles into the pub, landing heavily amidst the glowing sick. It's huge, with an enormous orange beak and powerful wings. It looks utterly exhausted and confused. Stork. A deep, resonant voice. Surprisingly cultured, but panicked. Oh, good heavens. Finally, I do apologize. Dreadful Gale. Absolutely dreadful. Lost my bearings, something awful. Is this right? Oh, thank the stars. You have her. The baby, seeing the stork, stops crying. It hovers gently midair, a soft cooing sound escaping its lips, its green aura now pulsing with contentment. Daniel, stunned. A stork? You delivered this baby? Stork, fluffing its feathers, trying to regain some dignity despite being covered in glowing sick. Of course. Standard procedure, though this particular delivery, I'll admit, was rather special, a bit energetic. The new generation, you see. Bit of cosmic dust, a touch of extra planar energy, quite common these days. Very difficult to keep a hold of in a Force 9 gale, especially when they start levitating. Svrandkaz, finally understanding. Russian accent. Stork. Like in old country, but larger, and glowing. Toad. Eyes wide with a new obsession. A flying baby, delivered by a flying stork? This is even better than baby bobbing. We could have a stork and baby acrobatic team. The aerial delight of Rye. Dawdle. Sighing, but a small smile playing on her lips. Of course. A stork. Should have known. Always the most logical explanation. Bill Clutterbuck. Nods slowly. The sea's currents. The wind's currents. Sometimes they just take things where they shouldn't be. Glad the little one's found its way. The stork peers at the baby. Stork. Oh, look at her. My little Lilybell. She's been a handful, hasn't she? So sorry about the effluent. Stress response. Very powerful. She gets it from her father. Bless him. He's quite the nervous wreck. Daniel. Lilybell. So she has parents? She's going somewhere. Stork. Nods vigorously. Of course. To the Jenkinsons. Lovely couple. Been waiting ages. Just a few more villages. Across the estuary. Then a sharp left at the giant windmill. Should have been a straightforward run if it wasn't for this infernal weather. The baby, Lilybell, floats towards the stork, making soft, happy gurgling noises. The stork gently nudges her with its beak. Sam Payton, smiling. Well, that's a relief. Everything's going to be alright now. Pat Clifton, just like a good postal service. Always gets there in the end. Trip, grinning. So, it was just a lost delivery? My man, that's a legendary tale. I'll drop a track for the stork next. Lost Parcel Blues. Spuds MacKenzie. To Joe Camel, dejected. So no flying baby races then? No gold-plated trench coat? Joe Camel, shrugs. Takes a drag. Ah well, Spuds. Easy come, easy go. Maybe next time we find a talking pigeon. The stork carefully picks up Lilybell's basket in its beak. Lilybell settles in, still levitating slightly, but content. Stork. Right then. Must be off. Running dreadfully late. So sorry for the bother. And the mess. A hearty thank you to you all for looking after her. Especially you, young man. The stork nods to Daniel. Daniel looks at Lilybell, a profound sadness mixed with relief on his face. He reaches out a hand, almost touching her, then pulls it back. Daniel, quietly, take care, little one. The stork turns, and with a powerful beat of its wings, it flies out through the shattered skylight, disappearing into the lingering drizzle and gray sky. Silence descends upon the pub, broken only by the dripping of rain and the occasional cough. The glowing green stick still covers everything. Godfrey, to himself, shaking his head. Well, that's one way to clear a pub. Never a dull moment, eh? Daniel walks over to the table where the baby's basket had been. He gently picks up a tiny, discarded green glowing bib. He holds it for a moment, his eyes far away, lost in thought, remembering his own child. Daniel, whispering, almost to himself, I hope they get you home safe. He looks around at the still glowing, wet pub, at the shattered skylight, at his strange, wonderful, exasperating friends. He longs for his own home, his own family, his own reality, but for now, he's here, and the cleaning up begins. Dawdle, right, everyone. Less standing around like soggy sponges, and more scrubbing. Corky, you're on the ceiling. Pat, Sam, you can help with the floors. Daniel, you look like you need a strong cup of tea and a sit down. Daniel manages a small, weary smile. Daniel, yeah, that sounds about right. Dawdle. He looks up at the still open skylight, a glimmer of melancholy hope in his eyes, as if searching for his own lost stork, his own way home.